Hi, I'm going to talk about my presentation that I present at SCoRe. SCoRe is part of NBIS, and SCoRe means Support for Computational Resources. I give this presentation as of today in a couple of hours, and here I practice it. The goal of this talk is to let my colleagues know what I do, so they can consider, at least, if some things are useful to them. And to find out what I do, I thought it would be a great idea to start with Urdur. And this is my Urdur overview of since January. So this is what I've been doing in January. And here we see the percentages and activities I've been doing. So we can see that most of my time is spent on training, then we have support, professional development. Internal NBIS, I have no idea what I booked this under. At the start we needed to get a bit of an idea about Urdur. And outreach. These are the things that I work most on, and I'll go through them. Another way to visualize it is that how these things are connected. So here we see me, here we have support, the things, but the things are connected a lot with training. For example, so let's start with training. So one thing is there is an overview of my teaching. So if I go to that website, it's a public website. Here you can see of all the courses I teach, the name, my lesson plan, the public evaluation results, and my reflection. And so you can calculate that around once a week on average I teach. And maybe this is useful to you if you want to teach or assist in teaching, because then I can probably get you in. If you are a course coordinator and you want like some course statistics, like how many people actually show up, you can use all my information. If you want to see how a course evaluation can look like, or if you want to see how a reflection of a teacher, which is me, can look like. So that's my teaching, and it shows that, well, you can even tell it's useful to find out when I'm not in the office, because I usually teach from home. Good. About professional development, there are 3 things I do, and the first thing is that with Elin Konander, she's from NBIS, we are leading the NBIS Teaching Literature Club. So you see a website of it, and the goal of that club is to read the scientific literature to get better at teaching. So I can go to the website, it's just a literature club. And we see that today at 2 I will be talking. So that is useful if you want to improve your teaching based on the academic literature. But there are 2 more professional activities. Activities I book in a professional development. One is called peer observation. So there are some teachers here. And we want to do peer observation as teachers. It's one of the 2 best, most effective ways to grow in teaching. And we observe each other's lessons. I always publish when people observe me, so you can find it there too. And you can join if you want to improve your own teaching or to see how others teach, because you can just observe us and discuss that, and at least you can see other people teaching. The third part of professional development is a paper I'm working on with a dude from NBIS, Daniel Wiberg. The paper is called Improving the Elixir Evaluation for Both Managers and Trainers. And this is a paper which evaluates the evaluation we do of training at the end of a training session or a course. After a course, they have an evaluation standardized, and this paper determines how useful that evaluation actually is. And this is useful if you want to know which questions are useful to ask to learners for course evaluations. There's a lot of reference to the literature there. Another big chunk of my work is support. One thing is maintaining the SCoRe user documentation website. It lists all the courses that are relevant, that are close to us, like NICE, Scilab Lab MBIS, the Mimir IA Factory, and so on. But also lists the compute resources scientists can use, storage systems in Sweden researchers can use, and how to use your HPC resources efficiently. So that's a thing I help. I use it in training too, because now there's a one place to go to. Additionally, I am a heavy contributor to the UpMax documentation. Here we can see the contributors. Björn Klaremar, he started with it in 2023, and since then I've been working on this even more. And there are sure more contributors, but I only took the top 4. But we have a big gap with the next 2 ones. Matthias Piqueret or something, he started this. So the UpMax user documentation is good if you want to redirect an UpMax user to the documentation. And I think this documentation is the best example of user documentation where we actually show that we care about our users. It is made with the user in mind. I think it's the best documentation of NICE all around. One thing I do as support at the moment, I work on a data transfer project for a professor. And we need to get data from SCoRe to a NAS because SCoRe is shutting down. I have my notes and scripts in a private GitHub repository. But for example, here's a progress log I can show. This log is here on GitHub. I checked it in, but also the professor can see every hour what the progress is. And this is useful if you want to do something with SCoRe and rclone, because I've worked a lot with it. Last, I do some outreach. I am leading with several volunteers the Open Science Community Uppsala. This is the website of them. And if you want to discuss, talk, or listen about open science, then this is the place to go. With that, I have listed my most important activities that I do at SCoRe. I have just let you know what I do, and now you can consider what is useful to you. With that, I wish you a very good day. Bye.